because they didn't have the faith that they should have had. They didn't realize the power was really there for them to do what they need to do. They wasn't acting on it. He said, "Oh, faithless and perverse generation." What else?
How long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me.
Well, he was upset. He said, how long I got to deal with y'all? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him to me. Go ahead. Talking about the little boy. Go ahead.
And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour.
See, immediately, in another scripture, say the boy went through some convulsions of something right before Jesus. But Jesus took care of it because he knew he had the power to do it. Now, you know, God has to be giving you the power to do certain things. You have to operate within the power that God gives you. That don't mean you jump up and try to do something God ain't told you to do or informed you to do. So you have to operate in the power that God is giving you. But you can rest assured that if you're doing that, you have the power to do what you need to do. So he said, he rebuked the child and cured him from that hour. Verse 19.
Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, why could not we cast him out?
See, they had tried, but they wasn't really exercising the faith that they were supposed to. So they asked Jesus, why couldn't we cast him out? Verse 20.
And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall be removed. And it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you.
See, and Jesus informed them. He basically told them because of their lack of faith, because that's what unbelief is. He said, because of your unbelief, for truly I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, he said you can do stuff that seems impossible, in other words. You will say to this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. And he really means that. He said if you just got a minute amount of faith, but it got to be true faith. And what is true faith? True faith is backed up with works. See, that's what people don't, they want to talk about, oh, I got faith. Some people say all you need is faith. No, if you don't have works, your faith is no good. See, too many people got blind faith. They got do-nothing faith. But we talking about faith backed up with works. That's what the Bible faith is based on. He said, but if you got that, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, which a mustard seed, it only do what it's supposed to do. It do exactly what it's supposed to do. And as a servant of God, that's what we're supposed to do, what we are told to do. He said, you will say to this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. He really mean that. But go ahead. He going to finish it up with something. Go ahead.
Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting.
He said, but this was a strong one, and you needed a little extra boost with this one. He said, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. So you have to be on top of things. That's why it's good to fast. Just like I told you on the feast, we done with the feasting, we back to the drawing board. We got to get back to fasting and really seeking the Lord. So you can operate in the power that he's given you. But now let's go further. Go to Numbers 13. We're going to look at an old time example. Numbers 13. Numbers 13. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Numbers 13 and 1, because this is when Israel came out of Egypt. They had saw all the power that God had. He had split the Red Sea before them. Killed Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the one everybody thought had the power, but God showed who had the power. Israel were recipients of God's mighty works. and they saw it all, but yet they still didn't believe. That's why I'm saying God can do stuff for you, and you can still be lacking in faith, which it shouldn't be. Because once God then showed you examples of what he will do for you, you shouldn't have no reason to disbelieve. But that's what they did here. And this is par for the course for Israel. Numbers 13:1. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them.
Okay, so now they out of Egypt. They in the wilderness. Pharaoh, they don't have to worry about him no more. His whole army got drowned in the Red Sea. They don't even have to worry about him no more. Now, God been telling them through Moses that he's taking them to the promised land, a land of milk and honey. See, but obviously they didn't believe that. They've been listening to it, but they don't really believe it. Now, how can you see God drown the mightiest army in the world at that time? How can you see him drown them in the Red Sea and doubt any more about God? That shows you have to really be a stiff-necked people. See, that's why we the same people today that have been through all kind of trouble by the hand of God, but yet we still don't have enough faith just to do what the Bible say. We got Bibles in all our churches, but yet we're not following nothing that's in them. That's why they're going to be in church tomorrow instead of what their Bible say, the seventh day. They don't have no faith in the Bible. They let somebody tell, well, that don't matter, it don't matter. Look, what you do shows what you got faith in. So now, he said he was sending them some men, since it was 12 tribes, he was sending one man from each tribe to go search the land out so they can have a layout and know what they was getting ready to go into. And that's what they did. Go ahead, verse 3.
And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
Okay, he sent them 12 men. Skip down to verse 25. Let's see what happened when they went. Go ahead and came back. Go ahead.
And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. See,
they went for 40 days searching the land, these 12 men. Now, 40 days should ring a bell with you because of this 40 days, they're going to end up staying there 40 years. That's how long they stayed there. See, they hadn't been there. They had just got there now. They had just got there. They might have been there a year at this time. But anyway, they're going to end up staying 40 years in this desert because of this 40 days. They've searched the land for 40 days. Verse 26. See, if you don't operate in what God wants you to operate, then a lot of times you have to wait on it then. You got to wait till it come back around again. In this case, it didn't come back around for 40 years. And all the old people was dead by then. But go ahead, verse 26.
And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
Unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word from them unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sendest us.
Go ahead.
And surely it floweth with milk and honey.
Now they told him, they admitted, they said, yeah, it's a beautiful land. Because that's what God been promising. Now, God been telling them all along. Now, if he'd have told them this all along and then backed it up by getting them out of slavery, which they was locked in with Pharaoh, getting rid of Pharaoh, and they ain't got to worry about him no more, why would you doubt anything else that he done told you? Why would you doubt it? But they still, after they saw the land, they said, oh, yeah, it's a land that flowed with milk and honey. And we brought some of the fruit. Check it out. But now what? 28.
Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled, and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
See, now they just operating according to the flesh and not the power that they should be operating in. Because now they looking at the outward appearance of the situation, but you got the true and living God on your side, who done drowned the mightiest army in the world already. Why would you even worry about some more people? But see, that's the fleshly mindset. You're looking at the outward appearance. You're not looking from the spiritual point of view that God is God of everything. See, we can do the same thing today. We know we believing in the true and living God of this Bible because we can prove everything that we're talking about. But yet we can be shaky when it comes to other people, which don't need to be. See, I can be around some people who believe something else. Only reason I won't say nothing, it ain't got nothing to do with me being worried about what they think, because I figured it won't do no good. But some people that made the mistake because I wasn't saying nothing. Like one brother, one of my boss, he's a Hispanic brother. He saw me on TV one time. He said, man, and then we came back to work. He said, man, I ain't never seen you talk that much. I didn't know you talk that much. I said, yeah, it ain't nothing to say around here. But when it come up, like one brother, one of my coworkers one time, he tried to challenge me in front of people. He threw it out there like, oh, yeah, you don't celebrate Christmas. I said, no, I wouldn't be caught dead at that Christmas party. And everybody put their head down. See, just because I wasn't saying nothing, he thought I was a little shaky. Nah, it wasn't nothing to say. But don't bring it up. You in trouble. Mm-hmm. So they were shaky right here. They came back talking about, yeah, the cities are walled and very great. Well, we know later on the Lord knocked down the wall of Jericho, but that was over 40 years later. But the cities are walled and very great. Moreover, the children of Anak, which they call giants, the children of Anak there, we saw them there. So they already got the wrong mindset. Go ahead, 29.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. And the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea.
See, they gave them the layout, but they already, scanned people. Go ahead.
And by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses.
See, here's somebody with some faith. Caleb and Joshua was two of the spies. They the only ones had true faith. They was willing to operate in the power of the faith that they had because they knew God was on their side. So Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said what?
And said, let us go up at once.
Go ahead.
And possess it. For we are well able to overcome it.
See, he basically was trying to cut the foolishness out. He said, look, cut this foolishness out. Let's go up right now. Let's go now. And take the land. We can take the land. Because he knew who was on their side. But see, a lot of times when some foolishness is around, the majority end up winning. So what happened? Go ahead.
But the men that went up with him said.
See, it was 11 other ones. Joshua was straight too. He was just like Caleb. But the other 10 spies, they was no good. They didn't want to operate in no true faith. So the men that went up with him said what?
We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
Now ain't that something? You just forgot about God, right? What about God? Said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we, 32.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof.
Go ahead.
And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature.
See, they looking at the outward appearance. See, that's why the Bible say, greater is he that is with you or in you, which you also mean among you, than he that is in the world. See, but they looking at the outward appearance and not from God's standpoint. Same thing happened with Prophet Elisha in the old days. An army had him surrounded, but God had gave him spiritual eyes where he could see it was an army of angels around the army that had him surrounded. See, he could see that. See, but we might not even can't see it, but we should know that it's there, that God is on your side if you're doing his will.
Amen.
But see, he could see it. He saw the army, and the young guy that was with him was scared to death. He seen the army, he said, Master, what shall we do? And Elisha ain't even worried about it. Elisha said, Lord, open his eyes so he can see what's going on. And he opened his eyes. He saw it was an army around them, but it was an army around that army, an army of angels. Had them surrounded. And didn't do nothing but did something practical. Didn't just destroy them all, blow them off the planet, just blinded them. Then they had to come to Elisha. Can you show us where we going? He said, yeah, I can show you where you're going. He took them to the worst place that they could have went, right in the midst of the army of Israel. But that shows you again how you got to look at it from the spiritual standpoint. You got to operate in the power